Herzlich willkommen, meine Freunde, zu einer neuen Global Network, dem Besten für Verantwortlichkeit, Klarheit und Wahrheit. I am here to issue a very stark warning to Grenadians about something that would have serious consequences and impact on your kids, your grandkids, and yourselves for generations to come. So you should pay careful and particular attention. Coming up, I'll explain. So I was looking at a program this morning and I saw something that was amazing. I saw a gentleman who was extremely concerned about his nation, expressing his opinion about what is going on in Grenada with the whole Polaris and the whole bill to reduce the age of consent. Now this gentleman, I think his name is Master Carl, he's an amazing gentleman. He called into a program, I think it's called Read Expressions or something like that, We FM program. And the gentleman highlighted some very important things that I believe that Grenadians are missing in these two adventurous and in some respects, devious programs. Now, as for the reduction in the age of consent, the gentleman, Master Carl, highlighted the possibility of sinister motives by predatory people in the world who could use this as a pathway to experimenting on our young boys and girls. Now, of course, we understand that there is a lot of red tape, there is a lot of regulation in the United States. And of course, a lot of those regulations don't exist in Grenada. So just imagine you have this teaching research and tourism hospital. It's quite obvious. Anytime you see some major organization like Mount Sinai attaches itself and is seeking interest into this, there is something grand to be gained from this. Now, you know the white liberal of this world and the white man in general. He does not engage or embark on any adventure or any opportunity unless there's something major to be gained from it. So the fact that Mount Sinai is showing such a great interest in Grenada and in this teaching research hospital, it tells me, and I said that before, that more than likely they want to bypass all the red tape in the United States, and they know that the red carpet will be unrolled for them in Grenada, so they'll get carte blanche to do whatever they want medically in that teaching and research hospital with limited oversight, because of course they come in as the experts. So Grenadians will take a backstand, and these people will actually direct policy and direct what's going on in these institutions. Because you already know, we always think that these people are smarter, brighter than us, and we always have to take a backstand and take lecturing from them. But I'll tell you one thing, they ain't smarter than Master Carl, cause he sees through exactly what is going on and their plan and their agenda for Grenada. So I suggest you take a look at that program this morning, Real Expressions. I mean, he definitely went in and he explained exactly what he believes is the agenda of all these international organizations that will descend on Grenada. He actually said it's quite possible these people want to experiment, use our youth because of the lowered age of consent as guinea pigs. And that is a fact. That is quite possible. Knowing that we don't have many people who will want to protect our people, who will sell their souls to make a couple of bucks and in the process sell out Grenadians wholesale. Literally, what you're doing is that you're giving these people authority over your young kids for them to do whatever they want. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, oh, there he goes again. He's trying to sabotage the great thing that the NDC is doing. That is not the case. Because there's actual precedence of exploitation of young women in the past. Have you heard about Margaret Sanger, the so-called Planned Parenthood founder? Have you heard about her attachment to eugenics? Have you? So what makes you think, without oversight, that these experts can come into Grenada and do whatever they want to our young men and women? What makes you feel? Especially when you give all authority to the top cop. What do you think is going to happen? And again, I want to divert a little so you could understand what. I don't think you understand the power of an attorney general. I know it looks like a civic office, It looks docile. It looks like not too seriously harmful. But I want you to understand what an attorney general is. An attorney general is basically the top cop. Okay? The attorney general is the top cop in your country. I want you to understand that. So when you see a police officer walking in the streets and you're intimidated or you're concerned, I want you to understand that the attorney general is your top cop in the society. Get that? So when you relinquish your power over your young boy or girl into the hands of one person, the top cop, who has carte blanche to do whatever they want with your youth, you've got a problem. You've got a serious problem. And I want you to understand that. So they're so smart. This thing is not a partisan issue, but they've made it a partisan issue so they can garner support for their agenda. So they turned this into a yellow and a green. But I'm telling you, collectively, Grenadians would be negatively impacted by this. And more so, the people who are at the lower bottom of the social strata. Understand that. I want you, the regular masses and hard-working people of Grenada, and the poor and the vulnerable, to understand that this will affect you disproportionately. You and your kids. Because they always think that they're smarter than you. So they're going to try to bamboozle you. They're going to get you into all sort of medical situations that will be harmful and ultimately dangerous to your young kids. They're going to drug them up. They're going to experiment on them in all sorts of ways. And you would not be able to do anything. Once this bill is passed, you are basically relinquishing your power and your authority and your guidance over your kids. I want you to understand that. This is not a laughing matter. This is not a joke. And you better take it seriously. And this is not just about the physical aspects of this. You're talking about psychosocial aspects. These people are going to take your young kids and kids that probably would have little, simple, mental issues, and they're going to drug them up. They're going to put them on all sort of psychotropic medication. And there wouldn't be one thing that you can do. And they will experiment in them. Listen, there'll be no holds barred. Because of course, they'll have the top cop on their side. So you got to realize what you're doing. You're playing with fire. And you're setting yourself up for a dangerous situation. That if it goes through, you're not going to have any say in anything that happens to your kids. It's over. You're done. Your parental control or guidance over your kids, it's a wrap. So I want you to understand what you're doing. You're jumping high. Yeah, NDC. Yeah, we love the bill. I am telling you, this is not the same tune you're going to be singing if this passes. And I'm not talking out of my ass. I've had experience in working as a counselor and as a case manager back in the days for an extensive period of time. So I understand how the system works. So I want you to be careful and very considerate about the decisions you make concerning this bill and concerning, well, you know how I feel about the whole Polaris white elephant. Don't you notice how they're all coming together? It's like a two-prong approach. Aren't you seeing through this for what it is? Do you get this? There must be a big agenda. And I'm not so worried about these coconut politicians, who probably can't come together and cook a goddamn oil lung properly. I am concerned, gravely concerned, about these international NGOs and organizations, these efficient, they will descend on Grenada like vultures on dead carcasses. Okay? They will descend on Grenada. And boy, oh boy, it would be a new frontier in medical exploitation and experimentation. Because they have the resources and the money to do it. And then you would have nothing in place to defend your youthful population. And you may say, oh, whoa, this is serious. Yeah, it's serious. And I want you to be scared. So hopefully that spurs you to action, decisive action, and rational action. Else you're going to wake up one day and you're going to find yourself in a world of crap. You're going to find yourself in a whole world of crap. Up to your noses. Okay? And you're going to ask yourself, how the heck did I get here? And none of this, in terms of policy agenda, none of this is by accident. You have to understand. I'm going to get back to it again because you don't understand. NDC is a center-left party. So the policies that they adopt is basically mimicking what the Democrat Party in the United States pretty much projects. So when you see they adopt policies like these, on these so-called sexual and reproductive health, this is not a surprise. This is not a surprise at all. And the way they dupe and catch a bunch of people, especially the women, they kind of mask it and package it. Women's rights, women's rights. This is what this is all about. But this is a game. This is how devious and smart and cunning, deadly cunning these people are. So when you wake up now and you're in this world of crap, and then you're going to ask yourself, how did I get there? But guess what? It would have been your own doing. By your own hands, by your lack of action, you would have put yourself in that situation and you would have nobody else to blame but yourselves. So these smart men and them have decided, let's turn this into a partisan issue. Let's turn this, that if we succeed, as a victory for yellow and a victory for NDC. That is how they've drawn a line to divide the mass of Grenadian people and pit them against each other. So those who support this are going to say, yeah, we're supporting NDC and the government. And those who are against it, or who voice any opinion that makes sense, even if that opinion is rational, even though that opinion is reasonable, even though that opinion makes sense and is grounded in common sense, like what Master Carl is saying, you guys will go against him. And you will go against people who are saying things that are reasonable. Because you would see that as, oh, he's an NNP, so I can't agree with him. But I want you to understand, this is not about right, this is not about left. This is not about NDC, this is not about NNP. Grenadians collectively should band together and realize that they have to make a decision that will determine outcomes for their kids for a very long time. And again, I've warned you that if you allow this to be passed without referendum, then guess what? It's over for you. It means that they are going to come back and they are going to pass draconian rules without your consent. And that is a typical action of despotic people. That is a typical action of tyrants. This is how they operate. They slowly test the limits of their power. And if they succeed, then they move it a little higher. And before you know it, you are eternally subjected and locked in positions and have become a slave to these people and these institutions. So you are being warned. You are being warned, just like many things in the past I've warned you about, and they have all come to light. Again, I am appealing to your sense of judgment and reason, your sense of common sense. Do not be blinded. Do not turn this into a partisan issue. Because you are going to wake up one day and you're going to find yourself, as I said, in a world of doo-doo, in a world of crap. So when you hear people like Jenny Simon and Master Carl, who also warned you about the flirtations with socialist Marxists. And now everything they and I have said has come to pass. It's not because we have some agenda against the administration. More so than ever, we love Grenadian people. We love the people of Grenada. We are the ultimate patriots because we are not afraid to say the things that needs to be said. So people like Jenny Simon, Master Carl, and many others, Devon Rasher, I think his name is, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name right, the pastor who deviated from the lot. He's the only one that showed some courage. Okay? And he deviated and he stood up. And all the people who are talking about this bill, I want you to understand, these in dimension, die wir respektieren sollten. Sie sind wahre Verteidiger unbeschützter Grenadas. These are the people you should truly respect. These are the people who are truly standing up and fighting and defending Grenadians. These are the guardians of Grenadians to their own personal detriment. Because I know there'll be targets, and we've seen there'll be targets for political hit jobs and financial hit jobs. But that has not deterred them because they understand the greater calling and the greater mission, which is to protect and to safeguard the rights of Grenadians, especially the vulnerable young ones. Now that, my friends, is courage.